Good evening, and welcome to Having a Drink with Mink. I'm your host, Jason Mink, and hello to all of you solid gold OGs who've tuned in for this particular episode. It's great to see you, truly appreciate it. You know, I'll be honest with you, told myself I wasn't going to do one of these this week, but when it comes right down to it, I didn't want to disappoint you, the people. That's right. So let's get right to it. I'll move a little closer to the microphone. There, it's a little more professional, isn't it? Okay, we don't have any Migos to show you this week. I'm sure that's a relief for some. I do have these little Spanish figurines that I picked up. I got a couple of these down at the shop. Say it with me now. That's Odds Entertainment in downtown Pittsburgh. And as you all know, this is Chrome Leon. That's right. He's one of the legendary creations of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Chrome Leon granted astonishing and awe-inspiring abilities thanks to the power cosmic, as well as a great ass. Quite striking on his ironing board there. And then here's the Hulk as well. He's grappling with Thor. That worked out pretty nicely, almost like they meant to do it that way. And then you've seen Spidey and you've seen Iron Man here before. He's particularly nice because they gave him a little bit of gold paint. You got to appreciate that. So those little steps that go a long way. And then we picked up Wolverine here. The more the merrier, am I right? These are Spanish figurines that came out in the late 1980s, early 90s. You know, you may have been there. They sold them in dump bins on the counter of your LCS, and I picked up my fair share of them. This was right before Toy Biz had come out with their action figures, but right after your, let's say, Mattel Secret Wars and your Kenner Superpowers. So there was like a little gap in the market. And, you know, if you wanted superhero collectibles, well, you know, figurines like Chrome Leon here, they were your best bet. Oh, yeah. And let's not forget Daredevil. Here he's riding Godzilla. Is that a devil dinosaur team up? I don't know. You tell me. Well, this one is Whoops! All Marvel. Oh yeah, because that's all we got in the box today, and I'm sure that's not really a big deal for some of you. Take a break from the Archies and some of that. Of course, the sharp-eyed among you are looking and you're saying, wait a minute, Mink. This isn't a Marvel comic. That's right, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this at the end of the episode. But we begin at the beginning, you know, as we always do. Don't want to confuse anybody. Gosh knows. Hate to confuse myself. That would really put things on a bad foot forward. Oh yeah, I hope you have a nice beverage on hand. I know that I do. We're going to begin with SpiderMan. And this is a book that I enjoyed back in the day. This is issue number 235, and this was right before I started picking these books up on a monthly basis. I came aboard right around the time of 252, you know, where Spidey got the new costume. That was what everybody in school was talking about. And subsequently, I went back and I found some back issues. And this was one of the books that you would often find in the quarter bin. You know, that's what we used to call them. They're dollar bins now. But this is a lot of fun. You get the Will-o'-the-Wisp and the Tarantula in Monsters. Oh, you bet. Where are his pointy shoes? Well, he's got pointy arms now. And then here's the follow-up issue to that. This is number 236, and Death Knell. And as you can see, the tarantula, well, he's not looking the way he used to look. He went through some changes, as we all did in the 1980s. You could argue that this was a metaphor for the approaching teenage years that many of us were going through at the time. You know, when I cocooned myself up in my room for, 3 weeks, and when I came out I had 8 legs. Oh, yeah, I don't have many more. I don't like to talk about it, really. But then we're going to go back a ways. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 116, and Suddenly the Smasher. And this is a fun issue because Spidey's running around with a fake mask on. That's right. Apparently, after an incident fighting Doc Ock, he lost his mask, and it ended up in the hands of no less than J. Jonah Jameson, who pinned it to his corkboard. So Spidey is running around in at least the first half of this issue wearing a, quote, cellophane mask. Never really sure how that worked out. Wouldn't think it would be comfortable. And it's not meant to be. As you can see, the whites of his eyes aren't there. So it lets you know something is up. Fun issue. And then here's some giant-sized Spider-Man and the Man-Thing. Now, I read this one this morning, actually. Was happy to have the day off. Been working a lot lately. Haven't been reading as many comic books as I would have liked. But I took the time out to delve into this, and this is a thriller. It was actually an original story, unlike a lot of these bigger books from the early to mid-1970s, which reprinted classic tales. This is all new, and it's Spidey heading down to the Everglades to look into stories of the Man-Thing, and while he's down there, well, wouldn't you know it, of course, you're going to run into good old Kirk Connors. Oh, yeah. And then speaking of reprints, by this point, 1975, that's what they were doing here. This one's guest starring the Human Torch, and this says an annual collection of Spidey's greatest slugfests. It's the Web and the Flame. Not only do we get the full-length tale by brotherly duo of Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, featured in Amazing Spider-Man Annual Number 4, but also a featurette from the same publication, giving readers a little behind-the-scenes info on how Webhead's costume and gadgets work. It was stuff like this that made my marvel as a kid, that little something extra that made a comic more than just a ream of printed paper. And next up, here's a book that I was excited to pick up because, well, the first time it came out in magazine form way back in the late 60s, and I can't afford that one. So I was glad to snag this 1973 reprint, Marvel Comics Group special issue. Unless you missed that, this is The Amazing Spider-Man, and it reprints The Amazing Spider-Man magazine, issue number 2. The Goblin Lives. Originally printed in black and white, but presented here for the first time in color. Good old Norman O. gets back in a harness after a little time away from the action. And while he's a bit rusty at first, before readers know it, he's back to his old fun-loving, girlfriend-murdering ways. This is a classic, if rarely mentioned issue, featuring the eye-catching artwork of Jazzy John Romita Sr. And then moving on to Marvel's premier super team, that's the Fantastic Four. Oh yeah, this is issue number 61. And enter the Sandman. Now, for those of you more familiar with Steve Ditko's version, he was a bit more downbeat in his appearance, but here, Sandy is deaded out in a high-tech suit, which allows him to add deadly chemical components to his sand, which is pretty fantastic if you're fighting a team of superheroes. Let's just hope there's something in there for that inevitable beach situation. And then here we have number 85, and within this tortured land, these guys sitting around getting their hair done while the monsters are taking over the world. I ask you, what have superheroes come to? Now, in the Old Guys Who Like Old Comics group, folks have mentioned that, hey, these later issues of Fantastic Four, surprisingly affordable. And that is true. If you're looking to get that classic late Silver Age Marvel experience, you're definitely going to want to look the way of some of those Fantastic Four. Or our next candidate here, it's the Incredible Hulk. And this is number 103. And now, the Space Parasite. This thrilling tale, penned by Gary Friedrich and illustrated by Marie Severin and Frank Giacola, sees yet another alien menace in the form of the highly mucal space parasite. This guy takes Sal Buscema's saliva to the next level. Unless you think I'm exaggerating, as you can see, his alien brethren are nearly as spittle-based. Someone get this guy some Mucinex. Following on with this incredibly moody cover, and coming on strong, it's the Rhino. I guess it could be argued that old Lumpy here is slumming after his previous appearances in Amazing Spider-Man, but he certainly works on an aesthetic level for a Hulk villain. That said, if you can't beat up a teenage kid in his pajamas, I'm not really sure what chance you have against a Gamma Spawn rage monster. Good try, though. And it seemed that they were going for kind of a trend, and it works here, making the Hulk a nice bright green object on a darker cover really makes him pop. And here he's facing off against the Titan. Not sure whether the Titan is this orange Goomba or the Hulk here. Guess we have to check it on out. Wow, here's an eye-popping cover. This is number 108, and the monster is triumphant. Oh yeah, look out, Nick. And there's the Mandarin, no less. And then here's number 109, and this has become a bit of an iconic cover, thanks to its artistry here. This is by Trimpe and Severin, The Lost Land of Khazar. And lucky readers were on hand for a classic Silver Age-era Hulk out, as well as an enigmatic and unidentifiable doomsday device poised to unleash no less than the end of the world. Hey, you got a lot for your 12 cents back then. And here's a book that one of you fellows posted in the group just the other day, and you said, not really enjoying these Hulk issues, but I gotta say, if you can't hang with Umbu the Unliving, well, you're doing something wrong, brother. Yes, you are. And then, behold, it's the leader. And he lives! And I don't know if it's just my copy or what, but it appears as though Hulk is having some sort of really bad reaction to something. I don't know. Maybe he's allergic to leader beans. And then here's the Hulk in the shadow of the Golem. This is a compelling issue that places the Hulk at the heart of a very human conflict. It's a timeless concept, nonetheless, very much in step with post-1960s storytelling and strongly representative of humanistic Twilight Zone-inspired tales of this era. And now a confession. I've always been kind of a Marvel zombie when it comes right down to it. I guess that's no surprise considering what I'm showing you here. But, from the time I was a young man to, just when I opened my door earlier this evening, there's something about those Marvel characters that stays with a fella. I'm not really up on the movies so much, not really interested in contemporary incarnations of the characters. And when it comes right down to it, why would I need to be? Because they're iconic, and you have issues like this. This is number 136. And, fool, you'll never survive the attack of Zeron, the Star Slayer. Hulk can. Hulk must. Oh, yeah, he's got a monthly title to star in. He can't be dying every time some Star Slayer shows up. I think one time Jack Orkheimer showed up. That was quite the showdown. And, here is one of those Marvel 25 centers. Call him Colossus. Call him Godspawn. Just don't call him late for lunch. He hates that. And then what next? This is number 148. You killed Jarella, the girl Hulk loves. Well, loved. For that you die, the girl in the Emerald Atom. And this is a classic tale. And then here's a book that I've seen the cover for a number of times. In fact, Mead used this image for one of their folders, if I'm not mistaken. This is Incredible Hulk number 171. The Rhino coming at Hulk from one side, the Abomination from the other, and Hulk must stop them both. Or die? I thought it was a bug, but there's like 8 of them. There couldn't be like 8 bugs in my drink, could there? Oh, you're back. Okay, hold on. They don't taste like bugs. Following on, and it's some Marvel's collector item classics. And if action is your bag, and hey, whose bag isn't action? Then wait till you see what happens to the FF when a Skrull walks among us. Well, first of all, he ain't walking, but you get Iron Man, Doc Strange, the Hulk, and the Watcher. Oh yeah, he's even got a story in here. He's peeping in someone's window. Back then it was probably Gina Lollobrigida. That was weird, but I guess you worked with what you had to work with, right? And then here's a Marvel feature. No, it's Marvel double feature. I misspoke. That'll teach me. I'll be thinking about Gina Lollobrigida when I should be being professional. This is Marvel double feature starring Captain America and Iron Man. This is number 18. And if this be MODOK. Oh, in fact, it do be MODOK. You don't think it be MODOK, but it do. And here he is, sans his crunchy candy shell. Ugh. And then we have issue 19, which is cool because I read this one earlier today, and I was like, wait a minute. How does it end? Well, I don't know how it ends, but at least I got the next issue right here. From this moment on, Captain America lives no more. There's a time to die. Oh, yeah, don't go leaving your mask behind, Cap. You're going to want that. Yeah, you will. You're a sentimental guy. I know how you are. You're not going to want to just drop that on the ground. Think about it. You know, it's like the guy down the street finds it, starts running around. You know, people are like, what the hell happened to Captain America? Asked me for $1 earlier, spit on my window, and then wipe it with a dirty rag. We have the official Marvel No Prize book, and this is Mighty Marvel's Most Massive Mistakes, featuring, that's right, good old Stan Lee. Okay, apparently it's not Stan Lee. They just used his likeness here, more like that, if you will. But it's a lot of fun, and this is, in fact, chock full of those mistakes from the Marvel Classic era. Here, Stan Lee makes it a point of name-dropping Peter Palmer, although he omits mentioning his 5 sisters. But that's nothing compared to calling Stan's latest literary masterpiece by another company's character's name. Keep your eye on the prize, Lee. Then here's a classic panel of Hercules towing Manhattan back into place, but in the wrong direction. Funny, for all the wrong reasons. Personally, I find it hard to argue with this representation of Daredevil with a gun. I mean, are you going to go fight crime with a stick? Although I guess that's nothing compared to this little screw-up. That's two things on one. And then on the back, this had always puzzled me. I looked at it for like 20 minutes trying to figure out what the mistake was on here. I don't think there is one. I think it's just an advertisement. Okay. And then here's Not Brand Ech, and I've been picking these up because, well, they're pretty inexpensive when it comes right down to it, and they are chock full of wonderful artwork by all of Marvel's brightest lights of the Silver Age. Who says a comic book has to be good? This issue features your usual Marvel moronic-based fare, along with the Mad Magazine-style spoof King Kong. Although this bit of Eldarian chicken fat is what will haunt my nightmares. And how about 2 issues of Spidey Super Stories? Now, as a kid, well, I didn't really think much of this book at all. I was more interested in Spidey's contemporary adventures in Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, or even better, Marvel Tales, because that was when Marvel Tales was printing those classic stories from the late 60s, early 70s, and given a choice, I would always go with a Marvel Tales. But occasionally, someone would be like, oh, you like Spider-Man comics? There's a Spider-Man comic. And, I didn't necessarily dig the way the character was represented here. I was used to my Marvel comics having a little more weight and gravitas. But now I can appreciate the humor and the fun that these books offer. Visit the Land of Doom. It's pretty cool. And clip and save your Spidey stamp. This one is Dr. Doom. And then here is issue number 24. And Spidey and Thundra are going up against no less than the Collector. And on the back here, don't waste any time. Read Spidey Super Stories. And they enjoyed Lockjaw here in this comic. He enjoyed a number of appearances, and he appears on this stamp. This is number 8. And then speaking of undervalued Marvel Silver Age comics, here are some books that can still be had affordably. This is Prince Namor, the Submariner, number 21, and The Invaders Strike. These seem to fly under people's radar, and they're really missing out. And then here's number 28, And Namor's been blasted by the power of Brutovac. It's a youthquake. Speaking of Submariner, in the early 1980s, Marvel revisited some of those classic tales in Tales to Astonish, Volume 2. This is issue number 8, where Namor goes up against no less than bashful Benjamin J. Grimm, that's right, the Thing and the Submariner in The Rage of Battle. All right. Well, thank you for joining us in this particular episode of Having a Drink with Mink. It has been particular, hasn't it? You might be sticking around wondering about this issue. This is Hanna-Barbera's Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch, issue number 2. Some of you are going, wait a minute. Is that some of John Byrne's earliest published professional work? And, yeah. And not only that, it turns out, well, it's autographed. Yep, that's right. There's a signature right there. I don't have a picture of him signing it or anything, but, most people would agree that's John Byrne's signature. Would you like to win this comic? Well, you can. To do so, all you have to do is share this video to your Facebook profile. Then let me know that you did so in the comments section below the video link in the Old Guys Who Like Old Comics Facebook group. Help the channel grow and maybe get something groovy besides. Everybody wins. I'm Jason Mink. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, cheers.
To the Merry Marvel Marching Society. March along to the song of